Welcome to the 15th anniversary of Tribeca Film Festival and to the first of our director series. I couldn't personally be happier, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here today. Chris Rock, what can you say? A brilliant talent. Yes. Makes you laugh, makes you think, makes you probe everything that's important, and he's a director too. And I was lucky enough to meet a young man, very young, 12 years old, at his parents' house. And I remember the moment because he was so arresting, so funny, so present. And he turned out to be the man who's brought us some of the greatest tales on television and some of the greatest movies we've ever seen. And I'm crazy about them both. So welcome, please, Chris Rock and J.J. Abrams.
Thank you.
Am I in this one? Hello. Wait, where are my glasses? Oh, they're in my back pocket. Okay. I got glasses, and how's it going? Oh, there's a clock there. I've never had that. How's it going, everybody?
Hello.
I got questions, some written by me, some my brother, Brian, who's my sci-fi brother. You know?
I get it.
You know me, I just watch old Sanford and Sons all the time. JJ, first question, it's a big day for you.
What?
You're the king of the franchise. You've done Star Wars. You've done Star Trek. And today you have Barbershop 3 opening up. So I was waiting all day to say that, just the only thing I fucking prepared was J.J. Abrams and Barbershop in the same sentence. JJ.
Sir.
JJ. First of all, what's the J? Give me
Jeffrey Jacob.
Jeffrey Jacob.
You know, thanks for doing your research. I think that.
It's for the people. For
no,
the people.
I understand. I'm not sure I can do this. No. Jeffrey Jacob. Jewish.
Jewish?
Yes. Shocking.
Jewish?
A stunning revelation. That's clickbait.
That you are now the most famous JJ in the world, taking it from a black man, Jimmy J.J. Walker.
No, he'll always be the
all
real
the
thing.
hell he had was being the most famous JJ on earth, and you took that shit. How does that feel? JJ.
Sir.
When did you know you were going to be a director?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all you guys for being here, and I want to thank Chris Rock for being here. No, I gotta say.
Wow.
Hold on, I gotta say. This is a little bit, the Tribeca Film Festival, and thank you to everyone there too, was kind enough to ask if I would do a Q&A, and I called Chris, asked him to do it, which is a little bit like having the best science teacher at a local school ask Einstein to interview him. So I cannot believe you did this, and I'm so grateful for your being here. Honestly, it's an amazing honor. Chris Rock, ladies and gentlemen.
JJ Abrams.
No, please.
JJ helped me on the Oscars. He did some of the tape, the movie parodies.
The movie clips, yeah.
The movie
we did that
clips.
together,
They
which
were
was fun.
done by the great JJ Abrams.
Yes, and Chris Rock. It was
and
fun.
I asked him to do it, and I figured he'd get, some minion from his office to do it, because he's got little JJs running around, just running around like, woohoo, just making shit explode. And I get there, he's directing the stuff.
When Chris Rock calls you and says, "Will you do this for me?" You direct that shit yourself. You don't go to the scary little JJs that are running around. What is that image that you just? Because I see people out there like, he has little JJs running around.
Your wife doesn't have to worry. There's no kids. Just kids. No.
When I was
little JJs.
the fuck? When I was when I was 8 years old, I knew I wanted to. Of course, I didn't know if I would ever get to be a director.
Right.
But I went to Universal Studios, and it was an actual tour at the time. It was before it was an amusement park, and it was it was this enlightening thing to see the magic of how movies get made. And it blew my mind, and I went home and I immediately started taking some of the models that I had built and all the geeky stuff that you do, and borrowed my parents' camera and started filming them on fire and just doing all sorts of stuff, trying to replicate what I'd seen at Universal. But I knew that the idea of making movies, if I could be lucky enough to do that, would be the dream of a lifetime.
At 7?
8.
8? I didn't know there were directors at 8. I thought TV was real.
Well, it's funny, I did too. And then my grandfather took me to Universal, and I saw that Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I had seen on TV, was shot there in the backlot at Universal.
Okay.
And I just couldn't believe it. And the idea that there were makeup artists and there were writers who worked in those offices, and snow outside a window was plastic stuff in a big, net and all this kind of stuff. It just blew my mind. And,
Now, your dad
yeah.
was producer?
TV movie producer, yeah.
TV movie producer. What? Name a couple of things. Just...
He did TV movies like Ski Lift to Death, which I know that you've all seen. He did Murder at the Mardi Gras. Don't stand up, please. No, he did a bunch of. He did some. He did a couple of wonderful ones. He did some that were sort of more fun and pulp. But I was very lucky to get to grow up and visit the sets. But it was funny, when I went to Universal, he hadn't become a producer yet. He was selling commercial time for CBS. And it was sort of the luckiest thing in history that I fell in love with movies. And about a year or two later, my dad started working as a producer, and I got to visit sets. And it was an amazing thing to get to see how the grown-ups were doing it and watching people at work.
Okay, so you got your 10,000 hours early.
I Gladwelled at around 9, yeah.
Okay.
No, it happened over time, but it was just the experience of just sort of seeing what a set is like. And I know that is sort of, it's incalculable how important that is if you love anything, to get early influence and just to kind of see it for real.
So you had a big advantage.
Oh, it was absolutely lucky, yeah.
So, okay, so your dad's in here, right?
That's right.
What job did you get that you didn't deserve? It's gotta be one.
I got to, I want to say Star Wars. But I got...
It's gotta be one. There's always one.
No, there was a summer I got to be an intern at a production company. And I was working for John Feldheimer, who is now this big deal at Lionsgate. And he at the time was a big deal at New World. But I was his lackey, and I would sort of do, make Xeroxes for, whatever, scripts and stuff.
Now, what was the most demeaning thing he had you do?
Well, I had to, this is not demeaning.
Not demeaning, like
Get on the floor and copy that script. No, it was like, here's one.
I just want to know,
here's one.
The JJ, I want to be a director so bad I did this.
No, but there was nothing like that. It was like a lot of just stupid, obvious, office-y, menial stuff, delivering things and picking things up. And one day, his very fancy Porsche needed to be taken home, and so he had someone do it, and I followed the guy home. But the guy who was taking his Porsche home, driving it, went like 120 on Sepulveda, and the cop pulled him over. And I had to sit there while this guy got a ticket in his boss's car, and it was shit like that. And now John Feldheimer knows that.
I wanted to hear something like, every Wednesday his dog had his balls shaved.
No. Oh, that too. But,
no. I had to get the clip-ins and glue them onto his mustache.
That's the greatest story I ever heard.
You really wanted to be a movie
You
director.
have a sick mind. Holy crap.
Yeah, man. You deserve everything. You did that. Okay, so I'm trying to get into the early. So you start early. You go into TV first. Mm-hmm. Now, did you want to go into TV first, or you had actually, most of us, you wrote a movie, it was shit, and then you went to TV?
Yeah, that.
That's what happened to,
Well, that's what happened to me.
That's what happens.
Yeah. No, I was working as a writer, and I wrote a number of movies. A few got made, and then I was sort of honestly...
Which ones? Come on.
Regarding Henry, taking care of business, there were a couple. And I was doing a lot of rewrites.
Regarding Henry's pretty good.
Well, you're
I didn't see the other one.
You're very kind. Thank you very much.
Regarding Henry...
Thank you.
Regarding Henry is enough to say I've made it. To the average person, they would say, okay, let me stop at writing. Let me just keep writing stuff until...
What happened was I ended up doing a bunch of rewrites, like script doctoring stuff.
Okay.
And I was kind of getting a little bit lost in the sort of allure of a lot of money for a short period of time writing scripts, rewriting scripts. And a lot of these things just weren't getting made, and I was kind of just doing this thing, and I started to feel like I didn't quite know what I was doing. And I right around that time, you got something?
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing. I get it. It's so weird. I had the same talk with Louis C.K. about 4 years ago.
What did he say?
Nothing, because he was doing rewrites on stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I can't be your friend anymore. What the fuck's wrong with you? Do your own shit.
That was literally what my now wife, Katie, said to me.
Wow.
She said...
Am I going to marry Louis C.K.?
I think you might. No, but she said you have to do what you care about. And I thought that's... Why did I forget that part, you know? And I ended up writing...
You have to do what you care about. Hookers and blow. Yeah.
Will you marry me? And she was right, and I wrote this pilot called Felicity that was the first TV thing that I... That's very sweet of you. And so I wrote this thing, and Matt Reeves, who's an old friend of mine and a brilliant director, so he and I went to this new network called the WB, which is now no longer there. And we went there, and that's how good Felicity was. Network's gone. And we gave it to them, and they said they wanted to do it, and suddenly Matt Reeves and I were working on a TV show, which we'd never done before. And then that was sort of my start in television. But it was because I wrote something that, for whatever reason, moved me.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But what happened with you? Because you started doing television first and then got into movies after.
Well, how did I start? No, I started out, the first time people saw me was in a movie called I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Sure.
With Keenan Wayne's directed. And it was one of these weird things. Keenan around, I don't want to get punched in the face. But he basically stole a joke of mine. And like, the one rib guy, right, was like a thing I used to do in my act. And it was in the script. And I think Eddie Murphy was like, hey, isn't that Chris Rock's thing? And next thing I know, I got flown from New York to LA for a movie that only had $2 million in the budget or something.
Wow.
Just out of whatever, so yeah.
That's amazing.
So I did that, and then...
But then you got, when you get SNL, how far...
I got SNL, probably about 4 or 5 years after that. But yeah, I did I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, Beverly Hills Cop, like a lot of little parts, and New Jack City, then SNL, yeah. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, that's, hey.
Come on.
Hey, man, that was a long time ago. Now it's Kevin Hart time now. Come on. It's Kevin Hart time. So who does Kevin play in the next Star Wars?
Well... He plays...
Did y'all meet with Kevin? You had a meeting, right?
No, I just met him for the first time.
Get out of here.
Here's what happened. So we, at the MTV Movie Awards,
Yes.
Force Awakens
Don't brag.
wins.
No.
You know, we've won so many. We go to the MTV Movie Awards, and we're supposed to get this award for the best movie. And so Daisy Ridley, who is in the movie, she and I, and she's wearing this little dress, and it's freezing. And it's time for this award, so they take us back. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, right? And we go up these stairs, and there's all these cables and things. We're moving through it, and she's almost tripping, and I feel horrible. And they're like, this way. And they stand us there, and they say, okay, when the smoke and the lasers and the wind start, you guys are going to go through, and then the Star Killer base is going to separate. And you're going to go through the dancers and separate apart. And you're going to come together at the microphone. And I'm like, And Daisy and I are just looking like, wait, what's going to happen? The person leaves. And so we're standing there on live TV, and then suddenly the smoke starts and the wind starts and the lasers start and the Star Killer base rips apart. We're just like, and we go forward and there are 8,000 people holding lightsabers and there's a microphone and we walk up to it. It's literally the most insane, surreal thing of all time. And suddenly, I guess the show's over and Kevin Hart's there. And The Rock, it's like a fucking fever dream. And they end the show, and then Kevin Hart was the nicest guy ever, and he was so sweet.
Nicest.
And The Rock is like putting his arm around me, and I feel like a Barbie doll. I mean, and then it was over, and then I woke up, and you were there, and you were there. It's so weird.
Okay.
Anyway,
I love Kevin, I love The Rock. Come on. Okay, we're gonna stay on TV for a while, and then we'll go to the movies. See?
Yes, sir.
See, I'm a little,
You're organized.
Not that I'm not really organized. I literally just woke up. So you do Felicity,
Yes, sir.
and next is Lost?
Alias.
Alias, that's right. Alias.
Thank you again.
Next is Alias. Okay, now that's a big jump, genre-wise.
Well, what happened was we were working on Felicity, which when you don't have, for me at least, in television, when you don't have a bad guy of some sort, episode 2 is really hard to come up with because you're like, it's first of all, the show took place in college. So it was like, ooh, she got a B. Like, what's the it's like, act out. Doesn't work. So we were trying to figure out what the story was. And I remember we were like on episode 5 or something, pulling our hair out. And I said in the writer's room, I'm like, if Felicity were a spy, I'd know how to write the show.
Wow.
And they're all like, I'm like, all right, so she has an affair with a professor or whatever the thing, you go to. So I kind of banked that. And then ABC called and asked if I would create a show for them with a young woman at the center. And I just thought maybe a spy show would be fun. That's kind of how it began.
Okay. I mean, one thing I noticed about both those shows, you're really good at casting stars.
Thank you.
Like, because when you don't have the star, I don't care how good the writing is. I don't care how great the producing is.
That is true. Well, when, as a director, when the right person walks in,
I make movies occasionally. You're a director.
No. But you know what I'm
We'll
talking
sit
about.
here, yeah, JJ, you and me. Yep, Star Wars, Pootie Tang, same thing.
No, but you know what I mean, though. When the right actor comes in, you go, that's the person. And if you're lucky to have great casting directors and enough time to do it right, you find the right dude.
I mean, I love all my casting directors I've ever worked with, but you make the final call.
Yeah, well,
and I mean,
sure.
what is it? A gut thing? Is it an acting thing? Is it a part thing?
Here's the thing. But I think what it is.
Because sometimes the person's great for the part, but they can't act. You know what I mean? Like they look like the person, and they're the age of the person, and they have the life experience of the person, but they can't act. Then sometimes, somebody's not particularly right, but they can act their motherfucking ass off.
That was Carrie Russell, because the part of Felicity was this like sort of wallflower. She never had a boyfriend, didn't have many friends, and then Carrie Russell walks in, who is phenomenally beautiful and just incredibly vibrant and sweet. And of course, the first thing I thought was, this is ridiculous, but she's here, let's go ahead. And she was so funny and so vulnerable, and all of a sudden, also it's TV. So it's like the TV version of the Wallflower is Carrie Russell.
Right.
But anyway, she was so great that Matt and I just looked at each other and we were like, oh my God. She walked in and we thought there was no way. And because she was always sort of like, the beach beauty and stuff. Anyway, she was amazing, and that was an example of someone who came in and despite how they looked,
they were just so good.
Nailed it, yeah.
Yeah, how about
Jen Garner?
Yeah.
Well, she had actually been on Felicity, and I knew her, and my wife had said, you've got to write something for her. She's got such a spark. And I wrote Alias thinking about her, but I didn't quite know. And then I finished it, and she came in, and it was amazing. And I remember someone at the network was like, I don't know, is she hot enough? So anyway,
I'm not going to say the woman's name, but a executive at a film company that probably weighs, I don't know, 165, 80, was like, Kerry Washington's getting a little big. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, just
I'm telling you.
a woman.
Well, look, people.
A woman.
People, who's to say this executive? Anyway, all I will say is the executive's no longer there, and now she's Jen Garner. So it worked out. But she came in, she was amazing, she got the part, and, you know, they're always second guessing, everyone's always afraid at networks. And
They only know 2 modes of communication.
what's that?
Ass, kiss, and panic.
That's probably right.
That's either kissing your ass or panicking.
Well,
You are great. What the fuck are we gonna
Yeah.
do?
This was panic. But, you know, Jen was she was so great, and she was so, you know, she did everything. And it was incredible doing the pilot. I remember watching her, which I directed, and I remember watching her kind of find this strength in herself that was just so cool to see. And she just did a spectacular job. And she's, you know, one of our dearest friends. She's the greatest.
She's great. She's great. She's great. So it's weird because I look at those 2 shows as star shows. They're your shows, but they're their shows as much.
sure.
And then I look at Lost as like just your shit. Like Lost is like
Well-
no disrespect to the actors, but Lost is like.
Well, I will say, you know, it's easy to look at the pilot of the show, which I was deeply involved in. And Damon Lindelof and I wrote that, and I directed that, and it was an incredible experience. A very weird experience, because we had essentially 11 weeks to write it, cast it, shoot it, cut it, post it, and turn it in. And we had an outline that we had written in a few days. And it was a scramble, and we were casting it as we were writing it, and we were location scouting as we were finishing the script, and it was just nuts. And in the middle of shooting the pilot, the head of ABC was fired.
Okay.
And the new person came in while we were shooting, and they said, could you shoot an ending so we can air it as a TV movie? And I said, if you can tell me how to end this show, what that scene is, I will shoot it for you. And I never heard back about it, and we finished it, and then they put it on, and the show worked. But the series was written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse, and directed by Jack Bender, and they were the ones who ran for 6 years and did things that we never in a million years could have imagined when we were creating the show.
Okay. So, what do you like on TV now? I mean, TV's changed so much.
Yeah.
There's like little novels now. Mm-hmm. That's
true.
Like, to me, Breaking Bad's a great novel.
That's an amazing show.
You know,
I love Transparent. I think it is just an incredible show, and there's such a specific tone and cast, and I think they're all amazing, I think, in the show. I've loved Togetherness. The Duplass brothers are, by the way, involved in both those shows in some way, and they're amazing. I feel like, you know, the last 3 years of working on the Star Wars movie kind of took me out of contention for, like, what's going on.
Okay.
So, like, I would hear people talk about shows, and I'd be like, shows. And so I feel like I've just kind of, like, even recently returned to the land of, I'm like a late adopter, you know, like I'm the guy who's like, have you heard of this Game of Thrones? And the people are like, so I'm just catching up. So how about you? Do you watch anything in particular?
I love that Fargo's really good.
Everyone's talking about Fargo.
Fargo's
People love Fargo.
great. Mr. Robot's really good.
That's a great show, yeah.
Mr. Robot's good, man. Yeah, I mean, what else am I watching? You know, and I watch The Walking Dead. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
What do you mean I don't care?
I don't care what you say. You get all snobby, Tribeca on me. No. Don't call me on Sunday.
We all love
Sunday
The Walking
night,
Dead.
don't call me.
No, it's a great show.
I'm watching Walking Dead.
Okay.
So what show if I were to do a show,
Yeah.
because I'm running out of money,
Okay.
and it's, you know, I'm a certain age, I'm starting, you know, let's cash out this credibility. What do you see me doing, JJ?
You?
Yeah, me.
Oh my God. Now, if I nail it, will you do it with me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God. This is a tough one. This is tricky.
Nothing to do with a car wash.
Joel Schumacher.
Yes,
car
Joe.
wash.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yes.
Okay. You.
Me.
Nothing to do with a car wash. What does that even? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Here's the question. Who is Chris Rock?
I'm probably a single camera show.
For sure.
Well, here's the
For
weird
sure.
thing. My skill set is multi-camera.
Okay.
Like
That's right.
I can. But what's going to keep me interested in doing 50 whatever shows is probably something single camera. That
I hear that.
Keep me intrigued.
This is too good of a situation,
You
though.
know?
But usually when I do story meetings, it's with less than 1,200 people. But here's the thing. It's a really interesting question. I mean,
Yes, I'm a hard cast. It's hard.
well, the thing is that with any show, first of all, like, my favorite show of all time was The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And even now, what I loved about the show, obviously, was that it always dealt with these incredible ideas. There was social commentary, it was character, it was genre, it was reality bending, everything. But it was a half hour. It was a half hour single camera, which is not very common in non-comedy.
Louis.
There are shows that exist for sure.
Right.
That's a great fucking show. That's an amazing show. I haven't seen his new show. How's the new thing? With
It's
Steve
okay.
Buscemi.
It's okay.
I got to
It's
check
a
it out.
lot different. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
But it's good.
So you don't like it very much, I can tell.
I like the other show. But
So you give it like a what?
no, sometimes like, put it this way, like Prince used to put out albums like so fast that you would get mad at the new albums. Like, motherfucker, I ain't finished listening to this shit yet.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's it's
Yeah,
like
so you're still
let me
Simmer
really
and Louis.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got
Let me.
But anyway, so I would love to do a half hour drama.
I'm down.
You know what I mean? Because then I think you can hold on to, because even Rod Serling couldn't do an hour. They tried for a season of The Twilight Zone to do. They tried a season at an hour, and Rod was like, no, and they went back to half hour. They couldn't.
Yeah,
do it.
I like a half hour. It's like if you're reasonably talented, you shouldn't mess up a half hour. Like
A Louis show, a Louis kind of thing, and now you can't really do it because you're going to be like ripping off Louis. But
Yeah,
that
ripping
kind of
off
thing
Louis.
would be amazing for you.
that's Well, top five. My last movie
No, I know,
was
that's
kind
right.
of
It was.
kind of that. A little
Top
bit,
five.
A little bit.
There you go.
It wasn't Star Wars. Okay, so we've dealt with me. I gotta look at the clock. We got that. And television. Now we get to the movies, right? Wait, you've done more TV. You've done a ton of TV, but am I leaving anything out?
There have been some other shows. We did a show called Fringe. We produced a show called Person of Interest.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very forgiving audience. It's fantastic.
What was the show with Gugu? That was a good show.
Gugu and Batha Raw, who we're working together again on something now.
Okay.
It was called Undercovers. It was
You're
on
really good. That's the thing I keep noticing. You're really good at picking out these girls.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So that lasted for a very short period of time.
But whenever I always say, whenever you cast somebody and you see them working later,
Yes.
you probably picked the right person.
Look, she is definitely. When she came in, she was like sunshine. Her smile was like, whoa. She was clearly on her way, and we were lucky to get her. But the show wasn't as good as she was.
Okay. You're great at casting. You're really great at casting. When you're hiring as a producer, what do you look for when you're hiring a director? What are the qualities you look for?
The most important thing, obviously, is that the director, first of all, have some skills. He or she doesn't have to have made a movie before, but you have to see that they can do it, whether it's a short film they've done, whether it's in, even a presentation that's strong enough, but typically you want to see some film to know. But you're just looking for someone who comes in with like a vision and a passion and sort of shows you the movie before it's been made. Like, you want to have someone come in and talk to you about it in a way that when the meeting's done, you just feel like, fuck, they know what is going on. They know what the thing is. And you want someone who can collaborate, but not who's a pushover. Like, the worst thing is when someone says, and I want this, I want that, and you're like, well, but what if this thing? And they're like, yeah, that's okay. We can do that. And you're like, well, where's that vision? You don't want someone who's just going to, like, do the thing you want. Everyone knows in any line of business, the best thing you can do is hire someone who will do the job, who you don't have to micromanage and do the job for.
I always say you have to hire your boss.
Well, you try to hire people who are going to be better than you.
Yeah, so by the end of the project, if I'm still running this shit, I hired the wrong person.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, you want someone who's going to actually do the job.
Yeah.
For sure. And by the way, that's true in every department. You want someone, if you're going to do, if it's costume design, you don't want to have someone that you're spelling out what the thing should be in detail. You want to go into meetings, ideally, when they're doing something that they love, that they're great at, when they show you what they've done, you think, oh my God, I never would have thought of that, or that's exactly right. Like Michael Kaplan, who I've worked with, costume designer on Star Wars, he did Star Trek, he did Blade Runner, like he's amazing. But he, when we were doing Star Wars, there were so many different costumes, and I would go into these meetings, and he would show stuff, and I would leave, and it was like he had a martial art of like just doing it great. Like I leave, and I think like, I just said yes to everything because it was so good, it was so right, and he had notes and things here and there, but he's a genius. But those are the kind of people you try to get who inspire you.
Okay. I once fired a director because I found out he didn't like Annie Hall.
That's a good reason. What was his reason?
I can't tell you what the movie was, but it was like, I can't work a year with this guy that doesn't like Annie Hall.
It's true though, but there are
so
things.
What are your deal breakers? Can you imagine working with somebody? You're gonna take notes for somebody that doesn't like Annie Hall?
I think the deal breaker is, honestly, you do your homework, you find out how people are, you kind of see it with your own eyes, but people who aren't kind. Like, I know this sounds so stupid, but like, and it's so obvious, but going into a project, and Star Wars was a good example because everyone cared so much, and it was there was so much stress, I think, all around that, we not fuck it up. And I remember in our first department head meeting, there were 80 people, and we had this conversation, and honestly, I do this with every project, sort of talked about how, as important as this is and everything, that for me the most important thing is that we respect each other, and that we treat, it's the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. And I know that just sounds so stupid, but the important thing is that in the experience, because there will be times and it'll get all crazy and you kind of forget you're just making a movie and it just gets all nuts, that you want to know that you're surrounded by people who are looking at each other and there for each other, because no one should be there for any other reason than to make the movie. Like, it's not about working for anyone, it's about, and so when I've heard that there are people who are difficult, I've almost always said no, kind of the life's too short thing. There was one time on Alias, an actress who will remain unnamed, who came in, and she was and sort of famously so, but she was very rude to people, and literally made a couple people on the crew cry. So a couple weeks later, after she was done, I got a call about her. Some producer wanted her maybe for this other project. And I said, you cannot hire this person. She was a disaster. She was horrible. He was like, thank you very much. Didn't hire her. So a week went by, and I got a call from the actress.
Oprah Winfrey. No.
and she called, and I said, Meryl. She's like, I heard that you said don't hire me to this producer, and I said, you were a disaster. What are you talking? She's like, oh, you don't. But it was like one of the only times I hired someone, even though I knew that was going to happen, and it happened.
Wow.
But the deal breaker for me is just someone who's not going to be
just
a human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
A human being.
Especially on television.
Yeah. Well,
the movie's 3 months to deal with an asshole.
Yeah.
3, 4.
Well, this was a guest star part, but yeah.
TV,
No, it's
you
tricky.
can't. hire.
No, for a regular, it can be it's always tricky, and it's just,
And responsible, too.
yeah.
It's just, some
Yeah.
people are nice, and they're just like, I remember we're doing Everybody Hates Chris. And, it's weird. It's like my favorite comedian in the world, I'll say his name, is oh my God, why am I forgetting his name now?
Gallagher.
No. Why did I just have a brain fart?
Emo Phillips. What is it?
Black comedian, just died.
Just died?
Died. Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice O'Neill came and read for my dad, and he was amazing. He was amazing. He was probably he was better than Terry Crews. But I knew Terry Crews would be there on time every day.
Wow. Wow.
It would knock it out. You know what I mean?
Did you ever regret it or no?
Yeah, if the show was 5 episodes, I'd regret it. But, we're 88
Sure,
episodes
right.
later. And
Did you ever have an actor come in who you thought was definitely not right? Auditioned was definitely not right. You gave a note, and then was right. Meaning, like, did they ever make it work, or has it never happened?
I don't know on a note, but I've had actors come in not be right, but just be so amazing that you go, okay, let's figure
Change
out
the
how to
thing.
get, how do we get Leslie Jones in this movie? You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a better movie if she's in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've done that.
Right.
I don't think I've ever done it with a lead, but,
Right.
some people are just great, and they're going to be, your life's going to be enhanced by having them on your team.
Yeah, that's true.
And it helps if they're great people, too.
Indeed.
Yeah, you got that, kids? I don't know. Where was I? Now, you did these big franchises that have two, they have legendary sickle fans. If you got like an envelope with your wife's ear in it, right? And somebody wanted ransom, who would it be? Would it be Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans?
All right, well, that's a fucked up question for so many reasons. But I will say this, that it was, to get into both of those worlds in any capacity was intimidating, because there are people who love those things so much. And I get it, being a Star Wars fan since I was 10, and I understood the Star Trek phenomenon, but didn't really start to love it until I actually got to work in it, and then understood it and appreciated it. But the truth is that there's this pressure of working on something where you have so many people who care about it. But the advantage is, especially if you're lucky enough to cast the movies the way we did, and work with the people on those crews, is that people do care. And so the question is not, will anyone care? Will anyone go? Will anyone look? It's, how do you make it worthy of their time? And anyway, I may not be answering that
You're scared of both.
horrific question, but both of those powers of the fan base of both of those things, it's bigger than all of us. It's a lot.
Okay. You know what my favorite movie of yours is?
What is it?
It's the Mission Impossible. It's
thanks.
It's
That's
like,
nice.
I love Star Wars, I love them all, but
thank you.
that particular Mission Impossible it's an amazing,
very sweet.
ridiculous North by Northwest quality.
Wow.
It is.
Now you've made enemies of everyone here. No, I'll say is this. It was really fun to do. It was the first movie I got to direct. Tom Cruise offered me this movie after seeing the first couple seasons of Alias, and which was insane. And some people warned me beforehand. He's the producer, he's the star. This could be a disaster for you. You're going to be this puppet director, and I was very. But Tom Cruise said to me at the beginning of this thing, on this movie, you're the director, I'm your actor, and that's it. And just know that. And I was like, okay. He gave me the chance of a lifetime. I took him at his word, and every day he was the greatest. He was incredibly collaborative. He was the producer also, and was so great and smart and helpful. And I've never seen anyone work harder. And then when I went to do Star Trek, which is the next movie I did, it was weird not having Tom there, Because Tom was like this force of nature that every day I'd go to work, I know there was going to be someone who's going to be working at least as hard as I was, if not, and I was never the one jumping off buildings and falling off shit, and and so every day there was this kind of like a partner in it, and I show up to Star Trek and I'm like where's that guy who shows up? He
spoiled you for.
He did.
Yes.
And by the way, it's funny because Cameron Crowe, who had worked with him a couple times, when I talked to him, he said he's going to spoil you. That's the thing you have to know. Yeah. And he did.
He's consistent.
He's that.
He is as consistent as there's no really shitty Tom Cruise movie. Like everything's kind of good.
He works his ass off.
The worst one's good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that takes a lot.
That's true. No, he's pretty
that's true. We all got one piece of shit somewhere. Not Tom Cruise.
No, he is amazing. He's amazing.
No. Here's a weird question. You ever come close to working with Denzel? I'm just always.
Oh, I would love to. I would love it.
This black guy question. I'm like, I love Denzel. I think Denzel's the best actor in the world.
He's the greatest.
And I think he ends up with if he's done 40 movies, he's had 4 A-list directors. I'm like, is it ever your past ever?
Well, no. The closest I've come to being lucky enough to work with Denzel is that I got a call that Denzel wanted to use my office at Paramount for a while. And I'm like, I guess that's working with Denzel. So now I can say I've worked with Denzel. No, but he was literally in my office prepping this movie, which now the script supervisor, Dawn Gilliam, who I love and use all the time, we work together all the time, she's now doing that movie, and she just sent me an update yesterday, and Denzel's all happy.
The Fences. So is he doing Fences?
He's doing Fences right now, yeah.
Okay. So are there... You are J.J. Abrams. You can work with whoever you want. Are there people that you're trying to work with, that you're trying to,
I would love to work with you. I would love to, it's true. I would love to, as you know, sure, there are tons of people.
Can't get you I mean, you're like, you grew up, the same way you knew you wanted to make a movie when you were 7. There's also a part of you that's like, I want to make a movie with that particular person. The same way Tarantino had this thing for Travolta. It's like what's your, who's your holy grail? Actor, actress?
I guess Meryl Streep is the person because, she's just someone who's done, she's like, I know that she's sort of the obvious go-to, but she is so incredible. And there was a luncheon the other day, yesterday, for the film festival, and when Bob De Niro was sitting, he asked me to call him Bobby. I've never met him, but I saw him, and I was like, there's Robert De Niro right there, what I mean? And you can't help but think that would be insane. That would be incredible. So I don't know. There are people like that who are sort of the obvious but undeniables. How about you?
Me, I have this weird thing. I want to direct Denzel in a comedy.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? He hasn't done it. I've seen him, he can turn a phrase and be kind of charming and kind of funny in a lot of movies.
He can do everything.
He can kind of do everything. Yeah. He's like the best.
Well, then you'll do that.
That's
awesome.
I'm trying to figure out what can I get him in that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Not silly, I can't put him in a Will Ferrell movie, but, I love Will Ferrell, but, you know what I mean? But something...
Well, you could be in it, too.
Yes, I better be in it, shit.
And then you can do the
Kevin Hart ain't in it, I'll tell you that. not if I write it. You can have a little part.
Okay. No, but you can do most of the funny, and then Denzel can do some of the the B funny.
The B funny, exactly. Play those other notes.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be mine. Yeah, little Denzel. Yeah. Anybody else? I don't know. A lot of people. I'd love to work with you. I really would. I'm not making that up.
Man, we'll do that. I look forward to that.
I had fun on the Oscars and just seeing, because it was something you were about as intense a person as I've ever worked with. But intense.
Wait,
but
what?
No. But like a sunshiny intensity. Like, like, hey man, we're really working hard on this thing.
Well, we were. I mean,
You got any more ideas? Like everything was like.
it was honestly the most fun to have, Tracy Morgan, show up as the Danish girl. It was
These Danishes is unbelievable.
it was a little bit of a died and gone to heaven, like, come on. I got to work with that guy. It was awesome.
He's funny no matter what you give him.
He's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. He's
And
very
he's alive, which is insane.
He's
That's
alive.
incredible.
Yes, it is incredible. It's incredible. He lives like around the corner from me.
What kind of weird questions did your brother have?
What did my brother have? Okay, let's see. Star Wars, Star Trek. Anybody show up at your house and try to break your legs? Rewrite a story. Okay. You're a comic book guy, all right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Not as much as.
I mean, could you direct the Fantastic Four? Could someone save this shit? I'm like, I love the Fantastic Four. They keep fucking it up. It's like, God damn it!
Really?
It's the Fantastic Four.
And is that your favorite?
That is my favorite of all of them. And Spider-Man too. But they've made far too many Spider-Mans.
Get in there with Denzel, man. You do it.
Oh, God, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Okay. What's wait, I had a weird question. Yeah, I would love to do the Fantastic Four, but I'm too old now. No, I guess I'm not too old to direct it, but no, they need somebody better than me. I like it so much I don't want to direct it. That's like the ultimate.
I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean.
Or did I see the Superman, Batman shit? What the fuck was that? I know you can't say anything. They weren't gonna cast me anyway, so I don't know. First of all, Batman can't fight a guy that drives a car.
Did you see the movie?
Gets a flat. Like Super's gonna fight Superman. Needs AAA, but yeah, he's gonna fight Superman. He's got jumper cables, but he's gonna fight Superman. I saw that one a mile away. It's like, you're not gonna get me. Go see that Disney animated movie. They don't let you down. So, okay.
is true.
My brother Brian. Let's see. What happens to? What's up with the lens flares? What's up with all the lens flares?
All right.
That's your thing.
First of all,
It's like Spike Lee's got that dolly shot.
yeah. The non-walking dollar.
The non-walking.
Well, first of all, and I mean this. I hate your brother. Secondly, no. Here's the thing. I'm over that. I'm not saying there will never be a flare in anything I do, but for a period of time on Star Trek, and then I couldn't give it up on this other movie I did. But there was this idea we had that was that the future was so bright that it just couldn't be contained. And that you had stuff happening, so it felt like just off camera there was something great. And there was like this energy in the room, and it kind of made it feel, it gave it a sort of signature. And I overdid it, and then I went further, and then on the second Star Trek movie, I went nuts. And there are, we've all made mistakes, right? Mine was with light. And we literally would have flashlights. They weren't put in post. We would have flashlights off camera, these insane high-powered flashlights, and we would do the thing that every director of photography is like, don't do that. We aimed it right in the lens, and when there was a lens that had like a glare coating on it to not flare, we wouldn't use it. And we got lenses that had no coating. Anyway, so the DP, I feel bad because he kind of drank the Kool-Aid and was sort of like, he was getting in on it and all excited. And Dan Mindell, and because it wasn't done in post, we'd get dailies back, And then there was sometimes we would look at scenes shots where you literally could not see what the hell was going on. I'm not kidding. And there was this one scene where Alice Eve was doing a scene, and it was a shot. And it was a very emotional scene for her. But it looked like bad reception. It looked like, TV from, when the day TV was invented. It looked horrible.
Okay.
So my wife looked at it, and she was like, she gave me that look that was sort of like, you've come to the end. Stop. And so I realized it was preposterous, and I had to pull back. And so on Star Wars, I think that there were basically no flares like that at all. There were a couple flares that physics required there to be a flare, because light and glass interact in a certain way. But I didn't ever add the flares because I just, And one more thing, and I have to, will everyone wake up the person next to you if they're sleeping? Because I know this isn't saying anymore. There were some times when the visual effects people would add flares to shots because I'd worked with them before and they knew that I used to love it. And I was like, no flares. And then they got obsessed. They had to replace that fetish with something else. So they started doing contrails. Like in every shot in atmosphere, they had contrails on the ships. And I was like, did you fucking move the flare people over to the contrail department? Like, what's going on? Like, no contrail. Anyway, that was the, and I'm done. Okay, go ahead, sir. That's my story.
Well, Brian. Okay. You see important traits to make good. Oh, we said that already. No, let's not do that one. Cloverfield. I like the Cloverfield movie.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really, I just saw, the one, the new one with
10 Cloverfield Lane, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh, thanks. That was who, like we talked about earlier, was a guy, he'd never done a feature. He came in and he just talked about this thing in a way and cut together a little reel, like a sort of tone reel. He was amazing.
Okay. Now, Star Wars, before people get mad, so I ask some Star Wars questions. I watched it the other day, and man, just the way you worked in the actors from the past. In the wrong hands, it could be the corniest shit ever done. And you did it so artfully, just working everybody in. It would have been probably easier to do an original. I mean, it is original, but you know what I'm saying, to do it without them.
It was the weird thing about that movie was it had been so long since the last one. And obviously the prequels had existed, in between, and we wanted to sort of reclaim the stories, the specific story that was happening in the last one. And so we very consciously did, and I know that it's derided for this, but we very consciously tried to sort of borrow familiar beats so that the rest of the movie could sort of hang on something that we knew felt like Star Wars. So all the new characters, the stormtrooper who turns, and Finn, played by John Boyega, and the Rey, the character that Daisy plays, the scavenger, and Kylo Ren, who turned out to be the son of Han and Leia, and Poe, the pilot, all these different characters, and sort of their roles in the story needed to exist in something that pre-exists them. And so we very purposely, Larry Kasdan and I, who I wrote the script with, and who is, obviously, he wrote the second and third Star Wars movies. He was such an incredible collaborator, and he really taught me a lot. One of the things was sort of about trusting the characters, trusting the audience, things that, he's got a kind of wisdom to his approach in writing that really is inspiring. And the idea was for us to tell a story about all these brand new characters, but we also knew this movie was a bridge and a little bit of not a reminder. No one needs to be reminded about what Star Wars is, but it needed to sort of establish itself as something familiar with a sense of where it's going, to the sort of new land, which is very much what 8 and 9 do. And so in doing so, figuring out a way to incorporate the characters we knew and loved and introduce all these new characters, it was a lot of plates to spin, but it was the job, and we did the best we could.
It was incredible. I always say when I'm writing a script, especially, don't start writing until you know the ending. You know, just like,
So do you always, when you're doing this, do you always figure out the ending?
I gotta
Before you
figure out, I gotta know where I'm going.
I agree with you.
And yeah, it's the hardest part.
But do you know writers who don't do that?
Yes.
Me too. It makes me crazy.
But I don't know really great ones that don't do that.
Stephen King doesn't do it.
God damn it.
I mean, I've asked him about specific stories where I'm like, you must have known the end of Quitters Incorporated when you wrote that script, that short story. And he's like, nope, just started. I knew there would be a great ending. I knew there would be a great ending. How do you have that kind of confidence?
Oh, my
Anyone?
God.
That's amazing. And
So-
it's got one of the great endings. It's a Rod Serling at his prime ending. That short story.
But the ending of Star Wars, when did you have it before you started? Because it's
Well-
the best ending. They had an Oscar for best ending, and they probably should.
What we had was we knew that obviously getting to Luke was the whole story, and we knew that it was gonna. I was desperate to do the next chunk. We knew that it would never fit in this one movie, but we knew that we had that ending. Now it was frankly a tricky thing to do, and at first, in all honesty, Mark Hamill was a little bit resistant because it was like, imagine reading Star Wars. Imagine being Mark Hamill. And you get the script for the new Star Wars. And you're like, oh, the crawl is good. Page 2. The fuck is going on? I'm 3 pages before the end. The last, what? You know, he was so kind to do it. And he was like, at first, you know, a little bit like, well, will it seem silly? Will it be like a joke that he's standing there at the end, you know? And I said to him, I don't think it will. Mr. Hamill, slam. No, I said I don't think so. I think it could be maybe this whole movie, because it's all about him. It could be this sort of great, fun drum roll up to seeing this guy. Because I mean, here's what's amazing. When we shot that scene in Ireland on Skellig Michael, we were on this, I mean, it was what it looked like. And we're up there, and there could only be like 45 people on the crew, because you couldn't bring many people up there, and there was only one way up, which was the 642 stairs to the top. And so we're up there shooting this scene, and you know, it's Ireland, so it's like, it's raining, then it's sunny, then it's raining, then it's sunny, you know, it's like, it's insane. And we're up there, and in between, you know, shots, we're getting this thing, and I'm looking at him, and I realize he's the same age, exactly, that Alec Guinness was when he played Obi-Wan. And there he is, and I'm looking at him as the sort of mist is clearing, and I have my phone, and I put on the binary sunset cue that John Williams wrote, you know, and I'm listening to this music, and I'm looking at Mark Hamill wearing these robes, and I literally start to tear up. And I'm like, I just know this ending could really work. And of course, when you're working with John Williams for real, it's just cheating. Because no matter what you do, John Williams comes in, he's like, and he just makes it Star Wars. You know, it's crazy.
Okay, I think it's time for the audience.
Let's
Audience questions.
do that.
Let's do that.
Right on.
Hey, we got.
I'm happy to do that.
Look at this.
Let's do it.
Do we pick or? All right.
Hello, my name is Micaela, and I just have a question as far as what's your best advice for unknown actors to get into the audition room, other than taking classes and perfecting their craft and being patient?
What's the best way to get into an audition?
Yes,
Well, I mean, the
with you.
Would you guys excuse us? Here's the thing. The truth is that the casting directors I work with, and April Webster, Alyssa Weisberger, 2 of them I work with all the time, they are incredibly thorough. And they're always looking around. They're looking online. They're going to workshops. They're just, you know, I think it's getting seen. And there are so many, it's funny because your question in a weird way is partly an answer to another common question, which is, how do I get started in the business? And we all now, remarkably, in our pockets, have cameras that are a million times better than anything that we had when we were kids.
Yeah.
And you can make your movie now. There's a movie called Tangerine that was filmed entirely on an iPhone that came out. It is not just possible, but it is increasingly common. And so I would say, find the material. If you can't find it, write it. Find the person, if you're not that person, who can actually make it. Cut it. It can be a few minutes, but if you do it, whether it's a script you write, a performance you give, and you put it out in the world, people like April and Alyssa and others will see it, and they will contact you. And that's the best advice I could give. Right? You have a different answer?
I got no, couldn't top that. Come on. Have famous parents. It helps.
Hi, hi, my name is Kyle.
Wait, sorry, can you?
I was gonna ask you, JJ, who Ray's parents are.
Get out! Where are you, first of all? I can't tell where the person is. Okay, there. Get out. No. Ray's parents are not in episode 7. So I can't possibly, in this moment, tell you who they are, but I will say that it is, this is all I will say. It is something that Ray thinks about too. Sort of fair answer.
Hi, I'm really tall, so I'm just not going to stand up. I was actually just wondering, AJ, I know you said you didn't direct the second Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane. What was the change from you from going to literally a galaxy far, far away to kind of zoning in to a smaller set? You started on a desert planet where you can literally do anything. You can do anything in a galaxy far, far away. But once you come to 10 Cloverfield, you're in a room and you're in a bunker, and you have to adjust to that setting after being in someplace so big. How did you do that?
Well, first of all, like you said, Dan Trachtenberg directed that movie. But the amazing thing about doing Star Wars, among others, because it was an insane experience, was discovering that just because you're doing a Star Wars movie, nothing changes in terms of the fundamentals. Like when you're doing a scene and it's a couple people or a few people and you're in a space, that's what matters more than anything. And the establishing shots and the big wide shot, they're important, they're critical, they're great. But like the stuff that really matters are the looks, are the things that aren't said, are the things that the audience can infer based on what is being alluded to. It's all that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons I think that John Goodman and John Gallagher Jr. and Mary Elizabeth Winstead were so great in that little movie, such a weird little play in that space, is that they didn't have the crutch of distraction, of CG sequence, insert chase scene here, directors, fight, whatever. And I think that when I was on the set of The Millennium Falcon, and we started doing, work with Ray and Finn, the first time we did it, it didn't work at all. As we wrote it, they were much more contentious. It was a very weird thing. I didn't direct it right. It was set up all wrong. And when Harrison Ford got injured, which was a very scary day, we ended up having a few weeks off. And it was during that time that I really got to look at what we had done and rethink it and then rewrite quite a bit of that relationship. And so when we came back to work again, we actually just reshot from the ground up those scenes. And it was an amazingly helpful thing to, get these two characters to where they needed to be. But once again, they were two characters in a space, and it could have been Cloverfield, it could have been the Falcon, it could have been anywhere. And those were the things that mattered most.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering, this is for both of you. Since you both have created your own content and you've been working in this industry for a while, I was wondering what you wish someone had told you that no one kind of talks about when creating your own content.
What did I wish someone told me? you're gonna have meetings with pretty much the same people your whole career. So be a fucking gentleman.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Like, they're not going anywhere. They moved to different companies. It's like, oh, not you again. I don't know. I'll say this about writing. I was just talking to a director yesterday, 2 days ago. You only get one shot. A person to show somebody your script the first time. No one's gonna read that rewrite. Oh, I fixed it. No. So just really, really, really dig deep within your soul before you give that script to anybody important. Because you're gonna get that one shot, you know. So I wish somebody, yeah, because there's probably a couple of movies I wrote that they're probably good enough to make now that I wrote 20 years ago, but I didn't know that thing. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a tricky one. I mean, I think you learn lessons all the time, every day. But the other thing that's so tricky about it is we don't live in that vacuum. I mean, you do what you have to do what you want to do, usually. So, you know, one thing that came into my mind was, you know, make sure that you really love the thing. But who the hell has the luxury of loving the thing? It's like you don't always have that luxury. Sometimes you want to be an actor and you get a job on a show or a thing that you don't particularly love, but it's like it's a job on a show, and you take it because you have to. So I think it's a collaboration, it's a business, and it's a tricky thing. But what I was trying to think of when you asked the question is like, what are some of the regrets that I have? And some of the regrets are saying yes to things that I probably shouldn't have said yes to. But I also know that I think we all try and do the best we can moment to moment. And I don't know if it's so easy to give that advice. But I think that it is a sort of corollary to what Chris said, which is I would do this. I would make sure that, it's funny, it's sort of the advice that Katie, my wife, gave me, which is just to really write the thing you desperately care about. Because if it's true to you, and if it's authentic, and it resonates for you, it's probably the best litmus test that it will for other people as well. And if you think of what will the audience like, you're kind of drifting away from solid ground, and you're in a place where if it works, it's more lucky than not. That's my guess.
I would also say, you know, because we got they're telling us to wrap this up. Yeah, you don't always get, especially early on in a career, you're not going to get the jobs you want, and you're on a show you don't believe in, or you're doing a movie you don't, you know. You can shine anywhere. As an actor, it could be the shittiest part in the world, but if you approach it correctly and do what you need to do, you can shine. You can shine as a cinematographer. You can shine as a director. You can shine in the biggest piece of shit if you come correct.
That's good. That's true.
I got Saturday Night Live. I was in a thing called Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. Yeah, it never aired.
What was it?
It was like some guy, some mobster guy got a bunch of comedians together and thought he was doing like an HBO thing, and he shot like, it was me and Dice before he got big, and Tim Allen before he got big, and just a bunch of comedians you never heard of.
I want to see that.
And yeah, it's real, and I got a Jerry curl. It's horrible, right?
Wow.
Anyway, some producer from SNL saw it.
Wow.
A guy named Jim Pitt, and not even Lorne Michaels, and it's like,
wow.
Yeah, like something in some shitty club in Jersey.
That's amazing.
Changed my whole life. So like, it can happen to you anywhere. Just the main thing is getting in. That's it.
That's good.
Just get in.
Should we do one more question?
One more question. I don't have the mic.
Unabomber.
Hello? 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 I was
Hi.
saying,
2. What's the...
Changed lives with your art. When I saw The Force Awakens 18 times, I actually left my soul-sucking Wall Street career to do what I really love, which is to blog about Star Wars all day. Collaborated called The Force is Life. You can find me on Facebook. Another thing you did for me while exploring the mystery of the Force is you helped me actually move out of the period of atheism to believing in something greater than just hard science. And I wanted to know what form of God, if any, in any of its forms, energy forms, life forms, do you believe in, JJ?
All right, well, good night, everyone. Thank you. No. All right, so here's what I will say. First of all, I truly thank you for that. Secondly, just give me a minute. I got to get ready for this. First of all, you've seen The Force Awakens more than I have. And I thank you for that, too. Secondly, I would say that, in all honesty, that I don't know if I believe in God, but I do know that when my mother, who passed away a few years ago, was sick, I did find myself connecting with, talking to, thinking about things in a way that I never had before. And it's a funny thing because what George Lucas did among so many things, so brilliantly in Star Wars, was he told a story that was funny, it was romantic, it was beautiful to look at. It had incredible sound. The story was, sweet and big-hearted and thrilling, but it was about a spiritual connection that we all have. And it's a weird thing because it's something you just kind of take for granted. You just kind of go, yeah, the Star Wars, the Force, of course. But what he was doing was this sort of divorce from all religion, creating something that was bigger than all of us and connecting us all together. And I know it sounds silly because it's Star Wars, but there's something about the notion of all of us being connected, every living thing being connected, that is profound and beautiful and resonant, and I believe somewhat true. And so I don't think when I was talking to myself in my head, anyone was listening. But I know that there is something that connects us. There has to be. If not the very least of which is that we're all on this planet together. But I love what George did in that regard. And I wish you best of luck in your new career as a professional blogger.
He's the guy that's going to give you your wife's ear at the end of the day. All right, she's the last one.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. I just want to say, I'm so honored to be here, and I just wanted to, reiterate how much I appreciate what you did at the Oscars, because as an Egyptian American who's aspiring to break through the industry and work in media and entertainment, it meant so much that you stood up in front of everyone and had such a strong voice telling us that anyone can penetrate, and it doesn't matter what color of skin we are, where we come from, or what religion we are, as long as we are, stay true to the art, and I just want to say I really, really appreciate what you did over there. And JJ, I'm a huge fan of your work. Huge. I love Star Trek.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
That's nice. It's and you funny too, JJ. I think we're done.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you.